Okay, so I'm doing this stream here as a. Okay, I'm going to be using the newsletter. Sorry, I'm going to be using this stream as my newsletter for tomorrow. And change of pace here. I thought it would be interesting to look over what I feel have been mistakes I've made. So we'll look at the pencils. Looks like for Spirit Girl 2, pencil and inks. So these are the pages that I scanned in order to make the comic, and to put the comic together. Well, I've got some kind of like, I was working with some expanding foam insulation today, and it just won't come off my hands. So if you see, I have washed my hands. um, yeah, so let's take a look at the Spirit Girl 2 original pages. And by the way, you can buy these books $1 for Spirit Girl 1 and 2, just to catch up on the stories if you want. That's my Substack. So the cover here, more or less, I'm happy with the cover. No issues, really. No mistakes that I can detect. So mistakes, I'm not counting anatomy issues and that sort of thing, because I mean, I'm not counting mistakes that are due to skill level. Like, my level of skill has increased since making these drawings. So there's no, I could just like say the whole thing is a mistake. But I'm talking about decisions I've made artistically or in terms of composition or layout or whatever, just to try to learn from what I've done in the past. And for those in the live stream, welcome. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat there. So this is establishing shot. Here, I would say a mistake is 4 trees doesn't communicate a forest. 4 trees the same size. I should have made more forest here. I think I was trying to do that in the back here and adding screen tone. So this band here is supposed to be some forest, but it didn't. I should have drawn more trees of different sizes to communicate the idea that there's supposed to be a forest here. Darius asks, are you working on anything new? Yes, I am. If you go to my Substack or subscribe, you'll see that I'm working on Spirit Girl 3. And stay tuned. At the end of our little analysis here, I'll show some pencils that I've been working on for Spirit Girl 3. So this is a better communication of forest. In the digital, I put some grays in here to express a little bit of shade. In order to communicate a forest, there have to be more trees than you can number at a glance. So if you'd be looking at a number of trees, you can quickly tell it's 6. That's not a forest. It looks like 6 trees. So that's one thing I learned. There have to be a not easily numbered amount of trees in order to communicate what's a forest. Here's layout. Once again, we're looking at the mistakes I've made, but not the skill level type mistakes. So there are anatomy issues, a little bit. Just maybe the line's not confident enough. That's skill level stuff. We're looking at artistic decisions in terms of mistakes. And I feel this page is actually strong. I don't think that there really is anything wrong in this page. You could say that here the third character is not clear enough. There should be, and maybe I should have reduced all the characters. But overall, I think this is a really good page. Same for this one. At the bottom here, we got the last panel of the page is a page turner, because this character is seeing something that we do not. So you need to turn the page in order to see what's going on the next page. And then we see this murder scene. So here, not quickly discernible number of trees expresses a forest. And you get 2 trees here and then some trees here. It looks like 2 trees and then a bunch of trees. You know what? Immediately numbering the number of trees here. Here's a decent page. I feel some clarity. Like, I like how I pulled off the crow coming at the viewer, kind of. I feel that it's not clear enough without dialogue that this character's that character. So I might have reduced that character's size and put something like dressed him in more distinct clothing, you know, communication wise. Here's a little bit of a rough page. I remember struggling with this one. Yeah. Mistakes in layout, nothing serious. I do, of course, I can pick out drawing errors, rendering errors, but that's not the point of this exercise here. So the 9-panel grid is really a solid choice most of the time. You know, you can't go wrong really choosing the 9-panel grid. In terms of layout, I don't feel there are major mistakes here. Yeah, I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but I feel it communicates the emotional tone of the scene. It's nighttime. There's good atmospherics going, especially in the digital. I added screen tone here for more of a nighttime vibe. Here, you know, it's Spirit Girl's got bad news to announce, so they're surrounded in black. It's good emotional communication technique. This character is upset at Spirit Girl, so that's a good decision. You know, you have the character's face. This character's facing that character, even though they're not in the same panel. That works. There's some subtle things here that I like that got pulled off. Yeah, a little bit of a boring panel here, but I think maybe I should have made this profile and lit similarly to the top here, so that the corners, there's kind of like a symmetry in the page. There, yes, I like the blacks here. Thank you. I do enjoy playing with pools of black. And I did a little thing here that I don't know if people noticed when they read the book, but to express the death of this dog, spoiler alert, every time Spirit Girl uses her animal siphoning power, whatever, like animal mimicry power, we see a atmospheric, like, weather thing, like lightning or clouds or whatever. And here we do see that, but everything's in black, and in the pages before, we had snow falling down right here. But suddenly the mood changes and there's no snow, right? And when the dog character dies, we get some snow falling down. So it's a bit of a subtle storytelling thing I wanted to experiment in there. Overall, there's some, this is me just still trying to figure out style-wise what I'm going to do in these lines. It's something I picked up on from an old 16th century artist, Albrecht Dürer. People didn't make too many comments on Spirit Girl 1 and 2 because I'm just starting out and it's not especially impressive yet. But people did make comments on these 9-panel grid pages with atmospherics. People did like that, and I really did enjoy drawing these. So if people responded enough to make comments, then probably not mistakes. See, Spirit Girl's too tall here, but again, we're not being harsh on the anatomy stuff. Because, it's a skill level thing. Just keep working at it and eventually it'll work. No pupils. I learned eventually that in like iconic art tradition, that's a big no-no. So that's something I'll have to watch out for next time. I'm not sure how I feel about 9-panel grid and then no separation between these two panels. It breaks up the rhythm, but there's not really a narrative reason for it. So could maybe call that a mistake. Now here there's a narrative reason for the 9-panel grid break. So we have the monsters entering the picture, right? So it makes sense to suddenly, the panel's larger because it's an especially important moment in the story. Mistake here is this is not one of these wolves, and there's some narrative potential confusion here. Now we do see she's wearing the collar, but that's probably not clear enough. But I started really liking these lines so much that I drew a page of just lines so that I can scan and put them in digitally if I want to after the fact, if I think they're needed. Okay, first double page spread. I did a double page spread just because I wanted to try, see how it pan out. I like the spreads. Now, all of a sudden the action starts here, right? So it makes sense to go from 9-panel grid, right, that we saw before. So we got 9 panels, small panel, larger panel, double page. So we're going, the action's getting larger and larger, more and more cinematic. So the issue here is because this didn't come up in the center of the comic, not at the centerfold. The next one does. I put an important piece of information at the center here, and it didn't line up perfectly each time when I was putting the comics together. So it would kind of look like this a little bit, or you could still read it, but there's something a little bit distracting about it. So if you're going to do a double page spread, that's not going to be in the centerfold. Well, don't put important info right on the spine, right? Move that over to the side so that it's not getting broken up. And this one came out one issue that I don't know how I'm going to solve next time is that when I scan these, I have to scan separately because the scanning bed is not big enough to scan both in one go. And then I had to splice it together. And for some reason, even though I used the same scanner, it wouldn't line up perfectly. It's like the scanning bed moves or something, or it's not accurate enough. Because I just go to Staples Business Depot to scan these. So, I don't know how I'm going to solve that next time. Yeah. Here, there's some narrative, confusion, but the dialogue fixes that, and it turned out okay. And then, final page. Mistake was not. I was getting tired. This is the first time I drew 16 pages in a row in the same story. I should have spent more time on these characters. I just put all my energy on the villain because it's kind of a big deal that the villain gets introduced. And then I should have spent more energy. But I got tired. But I do like this effect here, where the moon is communicated by the lines ending. Oh yeah, and I like to add as much handmade elements as I can, so I did draw some sound effects, which I scanned and put in after. And this is the page of lines that I was talking about. And this is what I'm working on now. And someone in the chat asked about if I'm working on anything new, and I will show you right now. So this is the Spirit Girl 3 bundle, and I'm going to take out the penciled pages. Almost done penciling this, so inks will come in a couple of weeks, if everything goes well and according to plan. So this is an idea for a cover here. My values, my lights and darks is not properly balanced. I have to pay attention to that when I actually go ink it. But let's take a look at a few pages. I really feel like during the drawing of this comic that I had a breakthrough. And so my art is becoming a lot better. So we have this story is going to be conflict established straight away, page 2. Conflict between the king and the peasant. And I really put a lot of effort into the pages. I try to spend more time and try to push my skill level. This is a library that took, just this panel took like 3 days. So we're looking, I started this on April 20 and the next page on April 29. So I spent, looks like 8 days on on this thing. And I do remember I spent like, just this panel was like 4 days or something. So, I'm really pushing myself in this book. And this one, I'm experimenting with the 4-panel grid, and it's to practice drawing smaller. And a page in my sketchbook is almost the same size as a panel on here. So when I'm drawing in my sketchbook, I'm practicing drawing these panels, right? And I even practice, like this is a castle. The first page of the comic is a castle. I practice the castle in here, right? That's why I'm going with the 4-panel grid this time instead of the 9-panel grid. Also, Mark Miller, the illustrious comic writer Mark Miller, says that the 4-panel grid gives your comic a lot of rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a rock and roll rhythm, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just look through. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm leaning into the violence of it. This is medieval violence. This giant bullying some soldiers. And I'm letting myself have a lot of fun. You know, I'm making these types of pages, which I'm just kind of going wild a little bit, seeing what happens. It's all part of the creative process, right? Like this, this page could be 1 panel, but I wasn't sure how to fit it in, so I just drew it as a whole page. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Big establishing shot. And I'm really pushing myself here. You know, I'm really trying to express textures and trying to experiment with the 4-panel grid. So this is a 4-panel grid, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels, because these 3 quadrants are split in 2 diagonally, and expressing the diagonals for tension, right? Messing around with perspective. I sat on this page for a long time, and then I came up with this composition. It took me a while to come up with this composition, but I think that's gonna look pretty rad with inks. Again, action, dramatic angles, and we got a double page spread here. There's a background that's going to go to that. It's going to be bloody rocks. Just really playing with the sound effects. And I paid attention here. You know, my spine, even if it goes off center a little bit, or like this, it'll still be expressing, still be communicating all the information. Again here, sound effects. Give the sound effects some weight. And that's it. This is where I'm at. Page 22. I think I got 4 pages left, or 3 or something like that. So we're close to having this all penciled. All right. I hope that satisfies your curiosity. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. Do you have any questions, comments? Let me know. Please also like and subscribe and restack and do all those things that'll help me out. And thanks for your attention. Talk to you next time. God bless.